Hi to everyone. Good to see you all again to the last session. Yeah, for those of you who have run the marathon, this is a final quarter mile for you guys. So make sure you stay on with me. I try my best to answer most of the questions up to now. All right, so the last session, we're going to talk about the 100 Dharmas. Yes, the 100 Dharmas, which is very famous in Yogācāra. Actually, Yogācāra is not the school that started with the category of the mind and everything in the universe, but it was started from actually Abhidharma, which was like a few hundred years before Yogācāra. So Yogācāra is the one that makes it more systematic, and from 75 it becomes 100. Why 100? I don't know. Maybe it's easier to remember. But the most important thing is the 100 Dharmas tell us about what is a human, what are we made of, what is a mind, how do we understand the mind. So let's start about and talk about it. But before we do, I promised you guys last night before we finished, we had a few questions. Right. So the first one is I had in a chat box was how does yoga support the practice of Yogācāra? Okay, remember we mentioned about the term yoga is a Sanskrit term. Yoga means to be connected, right? To become one with the body and the mind and the surrounding. So yoga means actually it's a yoke. That means something that connects everything together. So yoga is a practice of becoming one. Yeah. But in a broader term, yoga means that the practice of and it's an analytical process during meditation. Right. That is a broader understanding of yoga. So, but in today's term, yoga simply means stretching our body, right? But actually the spirit of stretching our body and be mindful is about how are we going to relate to our body and our mind. So actually that is the purpose of the yoga practice that we do nowadays. The yoga practice is not for us to like do very difficult pose, and show it in Instagram, like to show how you can bend 180 degrees and how you can do every very scary stunt. But it's not that. Actually, yoga is about how we unite the mind and the body. Okay, so how does yoga support the practice of Yogācāra? So the definition itself already tells us that Yogācāra talks about the mind. Right? How we understand the mind, how we have control over our mind, how we use our mind to reunite with the body and the environment. So yoga practice is a way to do so. So I hope that answered the question, yoga and Yogācāra. All right. The second one is, how do I handle happy emotions? It's more difficult to handle than unhappy emotions. Yes, interesting. Yeah, who asked this? Who want to stop being happy? I don't know whether that's a question, right? Because usually we think that when we're happy, when we're content, when we feel satisfied, we feel that, well, let's keep this emotion forever and let's don't stop it. Right? This is our instinct. We want that to continue. But the Buddha tells us that nothing in the world is enjoyable forever. Everything will cease somehow. So when we talk about how do we handle happy emotions, I think there are different levels of talking about it. First, if you want to talk about the very extreme kind of joy that we have, right? Sometimes I think during our experience, we might learn that if we learn some very, very great news, like you won a lottery, like for example, or your partner say yes to your proposal, right? Wow, they were like extreme happiness that happened all of a sudden. And that can give us like extreme joy. So I don't know, maybe after a while we feel a little bit exhausted or even feel a little bit of empty in our mind somehow after the kind of extreme emotional fluctuations. So that is the first level. Well, how do we handle that? But the way that the Yogācāra, I mean the practitioners do is be mindful, be aware of what we're going through, right? Like we were talking about mindfulness of emotion yesterday. If whatever is, whether it's a good, either happy or unhappy emotions, we just know it's there, give it a name. Oh, this is joy. This is satisfaction. Like watch it, keeping a little bit of distance, like watching it from a distance. And this is what we're going to practice today. Yeah, how do we keep a little bit of distance from our emotions that so strongly grab on our attention and not letting us go? So at the first level, we must try to stay a distance from whatever emotions we're experiencing. Of course, we still can truly enjoy the happy moment, but enjoy in a way that we're not losing ourselves, we're not losing control, we are not really exhausting all energy. So my answer to this is to stay a distance, right? This is definitely more difficult to handle than unhappy emotion, of course, because we want to grab onto happiness. We don't want it to stop. So we have to understand, and the second level is even good emotions or happy emotions eventually leads to unhappiness. Why? It's because when we experience wholesome, like good emotions, we want to stay on. We don't want it to end. The very thought of knowing that, oh, this emotion is going to end, it's going to change to something else. What's going to happen this? What's going to happen next? So these kind of worries, actually, worrying is also a kind of emotion, right? So just imagine when we're experiencing the joy and we start to worry about, oh, when it's going to end? What happens if it ends? So this kind of worry is actually making our emotion of happiness, like the happiness emotion, becoming kind of like it become a mixed feeling. So that's why the Buddha told us that even the pure joy itself, even the joy itself, is not something that is happiness like that can last forever. So we're not saying that we're not suggesting that try to avoid any happy emotion. No, that with that then you become numb. You become you will not become a person anymore. Yeah, then you're not a real person. That is very bad. But we're talking about is try to stay a distance to whatever emotions and to see it changes all the time. So yeah, for if you talk about how are we going to do it, we're going to talk a little bit about in today's lecture. So is emotion the same as Chita Seekers? So Chita Seeker is the Sanskrit term. It comes from the word Chitta. Chitta means mind, right? Chita Seeker actually means that which belongs to the mind, mental factors. That's why we translate it as mental factors. All right, that belongs to the mind. What belongs to the mind? In general term, all emotions belong to the mind. So, but is emotion equivalent, same as Cetasika? Emotion is a modern psychological term. We don't use the term emotion in Buddhism because, for the sake of easy understanding, I use emotion most of the time. But we have to bear in mind that when we talk about Indian Buddhism, talk about Cetasika. Cetasika is a wider term. It's a more like an umbrella term that include everything that goes on into our mind. So emotion is one of them. It's only part of it, right? We know that in our mind, we not only have emotions, we have thoughts, right? We have planning, we have a memory. So all this actually belongs to Chita Seekers. So emotion is only part of the Chita Seekers. Is it clear? Okay. So I use emotions all the time is because it's easier to understand and because we are dealing with emotion in our practice. All right. But remember, when we talk about mental factors or Chita Seekers, it includes everything that goes on in our brain, in our mind, everything. Everything that is not physical, right? It's belong to Chita Seekers. Okay. Well, of course. Okay, let me correct my sentence. Not everything. There's still some thought that it did not belong to mind. I wouldn't call it thought, but phenomena. We will see afterwards, yeah, in 100 Dharmas. But mostly everything we can think of, everything we plan, our memories, they all belong to Chita Seekers. Okay. And lastly, any limitation with the use of Yogacara? I don't understand what they mean by limitation. Does it mean that there are some areas that we cannot apply the understanding of Yogacara? I would say, in terms of if we want to train our mind, if we want to have better control over our emotions, if we want to have better relationship with other people, if we want to, let's say, become more efficient at our work and become a better student, everything can learn from Yogacara theory. Everything. The Yogacara practice will help us achieve our goal. So in this, wishes we talk about, this all can be done by learning Yogacara theories and practices. So of course there are limitations, but I don't know if you can give me some example. Maybe we can discuss, but I think that's all I can talk about the limitation of Yogacara. Okay, any question about this question before we proceed? Whoever asked this question, are you satisfied? Or you have more questions coming up? Well, don't worry. If anything, I can ask Jobin to cut out the part of the debate that's going on. All right, we're going to cut it and going to trim the video. Okay, just remember that you come across any question, right? I don't want to just talking on myself all the time. Raise your questions during the talk and we shall discuss. Okay, are we ready? Let's go to the last part, the 100 Dharmas. All right. This is not the most beautiful table I found, but I was so lazy to type every word, so just bear with me. Okay, these are the 100 Dharmas. We call that elements of experience from the Yogacara school. You see, they have like many categories. They have the mind categories. We got mind category, we have the eye consciousness, the ear consciousness, up to the store consciousness, which is the alaya vijnana. Remember, we are talking about the 8 consciousness during the 2 previous classes. So these are the 8 consciousness we call the main mind, yeah, the mastermind. These are the most important one. Without them, nothing else can work. These are the base or the master of all the mind, right? And if we move to the middle, so we have the 51 mind-owned Dharmas. So these are the Chita Seekers we're talking about, the mind-owned Dharma. These are like all the emotions, the way we make decisions, our memory, the way we plan, the way we think about, the way we reflect on. So these all are included here in 51. We are going to talk about some of it in the coming slides. Okay, we have a general one. General one means that these 5, like mental contact, attention, sensation, conception, volition, they all appear all the time. Anytime you're awake, anytime you're not drunk, or anytime you're not sleeping, these 5 factors, we call that general mental factors, they appear in our mind all the time. It's functioning all the time. Even now, when you're listening to me, we have mental contact, right? You're seeing the face, you're seeing my face, you're hearing my voices. So these, you have attention, you have feeling in yourself, you have conception because you're making sense of what I'm saying about. You have volition. You have volition means that you're making decision whether to continue listening or to go to the kitchen and grab some snack. Right, so these are the 5 factors that is running our brain all the time. Okay, the special one means that they only appear during when we come across to certain objects. Okay, we'll talk about it later. Of course, we have wholesome ones, confidence, sense of shame, right, blah, 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 and unwholesome ones, the greed, aversion, ignorance, And then we have a minor unwholesome, which is a minor unwholesome, which come after unwholesome, right? We come after unwholesome, but it's still a little bit subtle, not so easy to identify them. And then we have the indeterminate. Indeterminate means that they are neither wholesome nor unwholesome, right? Investigation. What if it depends on the content of what you're investigating, right? So it could be good one or it could be unwholesome one. Okay, and then beside the 51, so nothing other than the mind, we also have the 4 elements, the form elements, right? This is about the material world. Okay, and then we have the knot of the mind. These are like nothing to do with the mind, but they're still not physical. Right? And then, okay, let's move to the other end. We have the non-conditioned, space, extinction by knowledge, blah, blah, blah. Okay, don't worry about if you don't understand most of the term, because actually it will take 3 years to really study this if you want to go into Yogācāra, because traditionally we say that it takes 3 years to actually to study the whole course of Yogācāra text. So just know that this kind of 100 dharmas exist, right? And that is enough for us for the purpose of this course. Right. You may wonder, okay, let me ask a question on behalf of you, right? You may see that we talk about, oh, these are the 51 mind factors. Mind factors means that whatever that goes in our mind. We talk about emotions. Okay, when we talk about emotion, you may ask, if you look at the list, you check through the unwholesome or wholesome mind, you might find that there's something missing. Okay, for example, shyness, right? You can say, oh, this girl is very shy. So shy is an emotion, right? It's a feeling we have. Oh, I don't feel like talking to that girl or that guy. You know, like, so shyness is a kind of emotion too. Do you agree? Right. So why is shyness not in the list if it's part of emotions? So is it not the 100 dharmas really inclusive? Right. It tells us about all about the brain, all about the body, and about the environment. Why there's something missing? Okay, so now that brings us to a little bit about the historical point of view, because these emotions and all the factors of the mind, they are developed by monastics. Who are the monastics? Monastics are the practitioners, are the monks living in a monastery, right? Like they are people who are doing deep meditation and analyze the mind one at a time. When they're deep in their meditation, they can see what's going on in their mind. So for them, the world is actually going around what happening in the monastery. So that is a way to understand why there are some kind of terms that we use in modern psychology, like shyness. I don't know what else. Maybe we can think about something else. It's not included here. So that means that the category of 51 mental factors about the mind is not very inclusive of everything that human goes through. Because Yogācāra is very focusing, focusing on the goal is different, right? It helps us to achieve nirvana, to achieve enlightenment. So it's based on the life of the monastic, right? Because our and it also has its cultural background as well, the Indian cultural background. Maybe for Indian, I don't know, they don't have the term for shyness. I'm just doing a wild guess, right? So because of that, so there you may find that there's some emotion, like some words, some terms that used in modern psychology are not found in a Yogācāra category of mind, but it's okay, because we have to understand that your Yogācāra was formed under the Indian culture 2,000 years ago, right? It was formed under the culture, and then with and it is focusing on the life of monastics, of the Yogācāri, who are the practitioners of meditation. So if you look at all these terms like confidence, sense of shame, improper view, self-delusion, self-view, vexation, envy, avarice, these are very closely related to the mind or meditators, right? Not really ordinary person living a lay person life. So it's something to bear in mind, right? So these are the 100 Dharmas that is included in the Yogācāra. Of course, we can also say that even though there are some emotions that are not included here, but maybe they are like a lump into one umbrella term under some of the unwholesome mind categories here. Let's say, if I say shyness, I would say maybe it could be included under arrogance, right? Actually, shyness because arrogant means that because arrogant have both sides. Either you feel too proud of yourself, or you are the other way around. So shyness sometimes can bring out the sense of it's because the base emotion, the base emotion is based on arrogance. So the way of understanding it is how we look at it, and that's why they are not exactly equivalent to emotions as we understand in modern psychology. All right. And okay, something about the term mind king and mental factors. Okay, what is mind king? These are very two basic terms. Mind king, it refers to 8 consciousnesses. All right, this is the way the Yogācāra categorize the mind. First, we talk about the very important but basic mind had 8 parts. Remember during the class where we talk about the 8 consciousness, they are like the very foundation of our mind. So they have the 8 consciousness, they are the master, they are the main part of our mind. So what they do is they only recognize the essential and general aspect of things. Okay? And when they grab something and notice something, so it is the mental factors. Mental factors, they call it, these are the functions of the mind, right? These are the different functions of the mind and owned by the main mind, right? So what they do is they discriminate objects in greater detail, right? And then from here, we have the feeling of desire, we have feelings, we have emotions, etc. So example, if you see a box, let's say we see a box, right? First we see the shape. So from first glance, we know that this is a rectangular box, right? So the very first cognition of the rectangular box, it comes from the main. This is the mastermind because the eye, the ears, right? The eye get contact with the light, and this is rectangular shape. This is blue. So these are the very general understanding of things. And then when we look closer, you can tell, this is a blue box. We have words on it, premier, and the feeling is a bit soft. Right, and then we go in all the details. So whenever our mind comes to the details of naming the box, naming the tissue paper, so these functions belong to mental factors. You get me? So this is like how we understand everything around us. First, we get a very rough idea. This is a shape, it's a human. And then before we know the person, that because our mind haven't kicked in yet, right? All the function haven't kicked in yet. But when we can tell, when I look at the screen and I see Jobin standing, this is Jobin. Actually, my very action of naming him and knowing him, actually, that is only a moment later. That is the function of the mental factors. So there are actually steps, and there's a time difference between how we know things, right? So remember how we know things. I think this is very interesting because I'm wearing, when I was in Japan, this is the uniform that I wear all the time. Sometimes I'm cycling in the school compound with this the same shirt on me, right? But I was actually I was the very weird one in the whole university, because I was the only monk, and I'm the only monk from the Mahayana, the Chinese Mahayana tradition. You know that the Japanese monk, they don't wear this kind of uniform, right? They wear like anyone else, like wear like a lay person. So it was interesting that every time I walk around in a school compound, people would stare at me like, who is that? You know, people like had no idea what kind of person I was. Okay, but the funny thing is, because sometimes I got strangers came up to me and they talk like, and then, oh, hi, so and so, how are you? Oh, of course they forgot my name, right? And they start talking to me as if they're very good friends. So at that time, I was very confused. I thought, wait a minute, I don't know you. Or I really doubt myself. Was I really know you? And I was so forgetful, and I couldn't even remember where I met him and what did we do. You know, I have no idea. I have no memory. But out of politeness, I said, "Oh yeah, how are you? Yeah, well, I'm just doing fine. Let's get up sometime." Okay, these are like the social, way. This is how we social, right? Even though I had no idea who he was. And after a few times, I started to know why. The reason was simple. Before I went to that university, there was another monk from Taiwan who wear the same robe as mine. And he was walking around the university and he knew many people. So after he left and I went to the university, people there, they just recognize the shirt. They don't even remember the face of the person. So whenever they saw people wearing a gray shirt like this, they thought I was the same one. So this is how, this is like what I'm saying here. This is a function of the Chitta, the mind king, right? They only recognize the essential, general aspect of things. Like they only recognize my shirt as gray because it's long, like it's a long shirt. And people just recognize my very general outlook, but they never really remember the face of the previous monk. So yeah, that's the thing that I really understand. Oh, this is how the mind works. So don't trust your mind so quickly before you really analyze carefully and talk to some strangers that you haven't met for a long time. Yeah, so don't get into that problem. All right, so the mental factors. These are the 51 mental factors we just talked about. Right, as I said, all these mental factors, they are not really equivalent to the modern Western psychology terms because they are meditation oriented, right? And they're developed in a monastic environment. So this is used for meditation to help us understand how the mind works, right? Like terms like loneliness, shyness, and stress and surprise, actually, they're not there because, well, these kind of emotions hardly arise, right? For the meditators who are actually doing meditation. That's why we can understand that they are not included here. Okay, so out of this, we're going to talk a little bit about on the general mental factors. What are the 5 general mental factors? This is the basic cognitive process. We have the attention, mental contact, sensation, conception, and volition. So these are the 5 processes. As I said, it happens at every moment in our life. Okay, imagine now you're walking on a street, right? And you're looking around, and then suddenly something caught your attention, like someone walking in front of you, right? And because you were putting attention in looking at people, right? So at first you have your attention and looking at people, and then something caught your mind. You look at the back of the person. Something struck you, but you haven't known what is happening yet. Then you already come to the second stage, a mental contact. Why? You have an object in front of you. Your eye has already caught it, and your sensory organ has already, your eye is already catching with the light coming from the back of the person. So in a very short period of time, you've already run through 2 thoughts in your mind. First is attention, and then mental contact. And then sensation. Well, at that moment, maybe the back of that person, the shape of it, give you some feeling. Oh, that looks familiar. right? You might kind of have this this feeling in your mind. That's kind of feel, or maybe you have already kind of like it arose some good feeling in you. Oh, look like someone familiar who I was used to, who I used to know. So the sensation is there, and then when you look closer, you have conception arise. Conception means that you start to recognize this person. Ah, oh yeah, he is my uncle. Or oh, he was my, my father's friend or someone. Yeah, I remember, like his name is so and so, or Mr. Lim, and he used to buy me chocolate every time he comes to visit me. So we are very affectionate people, affectionate person. So at that moment, concepts all comes in. When you name the person, you remember all the things he did. So the conception, and then you decided, okay, oh, let's go up, let's walk up and say hi to it. Let's shake hand, and let's have a warm greeting to this person. So volition. So from the moment we have our attention on the people around us, and then we have a contact with the person, and then we feel something about it immediately, and then we recognize the person all the way to we walk out to say hi to that person. So this actually explains the whole process of how we come to recognize something, anything that we recognize. Right. So, and another example is, let's say you're sitting here, listening to a monk, talking very boring lecture. You feel like, oh, how I wish I can have an ice cream. Right. You see, your attention sweep away from the course. Now your attention is to what? Your attention to the image of an ice cream, right? So your attention goes to the ice cream. And then the image of the ice cream pop up in your mind. That is what? Mental contact. Oh, your eyes, right? It's your mind actually sees the ice cream image in your mind. That is still in your mind, but actually it's a contact. And then what do you feel when you see the ice cream? What is your sensation? What's your feeling? Wow, nice, right? It's a good feeling. And then the conception, and then that brings you a lot of good memory. Oh yeah, I remember last night when I had that big box of chocolate. Wow, the chocolate was so creamy, was so smooth. I immediately feel like I was in the cloud nine, floating in cloud nine. So you remember all these feelings, and the concept comes in, and then what do you do next? You quietly switch off your video. You walk up to a refrigerator and you grab your ice cream. Volition. So this explains the whole cognition process of what we do every day. Is it clear? Right. So why do we need to know this? Because if we want to practice how to control our mind, how to train our mind, we have to know that there are two possibilities. Every time we pay attention, two ways, I would say. The first one is we either do it passively, in a passive way. Another one is you either do it in an active way. Okay, what is a passive way? You're sitting there watching TV, and then the commercial comes in, right? You see a very slim lady grabbing a big bowl of ice cream, eating right in front of you and enjoying the big bowl of ice cream. So what is happening in your mind? Your mind also has the same image. So you also saliva started to form in your mouth, right? So this is what we mean by we are passively receiving the signals from the external world, and we let ourselves be in control by what's happening outside. So this is what I mean by in our daily cognitive process. If we do not have mindfulness, we're just letting everything grabbing our attention. This is the passive way. But if we practice mindfulness, right, as we did for the past few lessons, being mindful means that, remember what we say, we know where to put our attention. Even if we saw the advertisement, we feel like, oh, okay, yeah, I saw you, I know you were there, okay, but we switch our attention. We don't let our attention follow whatever is happening in the advertisement. So that is mean by actively controlling our cognition. Of course, it's not easy. It's not easy. So if you're used to scrolling on a cell phone every day, like for half an hour or so, you know that you have lost control of our attention. It's hard to get away, you're watching all those funny videos. So that is why we call that white noises nowadays. Like white noises are the distractions that we have. So how these distractions form, how they affect us. So the Yogācāra, they use 5 mental factors, the 5 steps or 5 ways of thinking. They explain to us how we got distracted. So what can we learn from this is, if we don't want to be distracted, first, control our attention. You see, attention is always comes first. Attention means that where we want to put our eyes on, where we want to put our ear at, attention always comes first. If you don't want to be distracted, stay away from those things. Easy to understand, but if you look at it from the Yogācāra point of view, this is how our mind works. So it's in a way, it's a psychological explanation of how the brain works. By understanding this, we can control it easily. Okay? All right. And general mental factors, as I said, this is just a recap. Attention, we call Manascara, is a Sanskrit word. It's very interesting. We look at Sanskrit words, sometimes it gives us very interesting. Manas. Manas is the mind, right? The thinking mind. Okay. And Kara is to create. It comes from the word to make something, to work. So if you read it this way, Manascara means to put your mind, right? To put your mind where? Somewhere that you want your mind to go. So Manascara, that's why it is translated as attention. Attention means that we want to put our focus onto something that we want it to go. So Manascara says exactly that. So attention, that means that we have the control. We can decide where to put our attention. This is what we call actively controlling our mind. First is attention, right? Manascara. And then mental contact, right? The action of paying attention to the object. That is already put into action. And then when we think about anything, we have feelings, whether it's a pleasure feeling, unpleasure, or neutral feeling. And then conception, that is, we start to give name and the memory kicks in. Oh, what is this? Who is this? What is his name? What does he do? All the thing comes in. And then volition. Volition is a process that, we evaluate. Is it tasty? Is it a nice guy? Is it trustworthy? And then decision. Should I go and say hi to him? Right? Is it the right condition? Should I stay out for the moment or whatever? And then initiation of action. So this belongs to volition. So from thinking to action, these are explained by these 5 processes. Okay. All right. Up to now, is it clear? Understand why we want to talk about this and why is it important? All right. I'm not going to talk too much about this. And also there are 5 special mental factors. I just want to go through really briefly. Also, okay, we also have desire, right? This is not a general factor. It's because we only have desire for something, but not everything, right? Something we like, we hope to get it or to attain it. Like if you go to an LV store, you better don't walk in. If you walk in, I think your eyes will get stuck on the product today, right? But before you look at the price tag, of course, right? Before you look at the price tag, everything in the LV store actually attracts you. I know that very true because when I was in Paris last time, and some of my friends, like they really like shopping, so they actually went to, we call it Lafayette in Paris. It's very famous for buying branded, branded luxuries things. So I remember when they come back, they keep talking about, wow, they're walking into a treasure island, but just no money to buy anything. They were so crazy. So the desire. If you go to the place that really get your attention, and your desire will definitely arise. So it's a desire. It could be good or bad, right? I remember there's some Buddhist practitioner, they asked me before, he said, Sifu, the Buddhism taught us not to have desire. Is it correct? I said, no. Why do you mean by not have desire? He said, yeah, I should stop my desire of buying more luxury bags. Isn't that correct? Yes, correct. We should reduce our desire for material things. But how about our desire to learn, our desire for knowledge, our desire for wisdom, our desire for love, our desire for compassion? Isn't that, a desire too? Say, yeah, that makes sense, right? So, in conclusion, desire is neither good nor bad. It depends on the object, right? So, don't think that when you want to practice Buddhism, you have to give up everything. That is a first misconception I got from almost everyone who asked me before. Like they want to really learn Buddhism in a very advanced level. They worry about, I don't want to give up this, I want to give up that. So is Buddhism tell us to give up everything? I said, no. We never taught everyone to give up everything. It taught you to give up things that you don't need, things that give you burden instead of give you happiness and joy. So desire, right? Have good desire, but not get rid of everything. Don't tell me, but Shifu, Buddha also said everything is empty. So there's nothing out there. I said, no, we don't say it's empty, right? If something is there, but it's not what we think they are. So emptiness, this is not the way of understanding emptiness, right? But that's another story. But anyway, desire is good if we have the correct understanding of what is good and what is not good, right? Resolve means that we really have a strong interest in something. You remember the time when you first discovered your hobby? I don't know, playing chess or cooking or baking sourdough, right? I know that for the past 2 years, there are many experts in making sourdough bread. Yeah, that has become like a very phenomenal. So the time that we have really strong interest and we have the urge to learn and to practice it in a correct way, try to master the skill of doing it, that's called resolve. So this is also can be either good or bad, right? What if you have a strong interest in learning something that's harmful, right? So be careful of how we put our how we devote our energy in learning and everything. And of course, memory, right? Memory is based on mindfulness. So when we talk about, we can say about mindfulness in the first lecture. Do you know that mindfulness is not just knowing, like being present? When we talk about being present, you know that I'm sitting here, I know how I feel. I know the air is like brushing through my faces, the gently a breeze, I feel like I know how I'm feeling. Yeah, that is mindfulness, but that is only part of mindfulness. Another definition of mindfulness is you got to remember it without forgetting. So mindfulness has many things to do with memory. When we are learning, right? In Chinese, we can say there's some people who can learn something very quickly and without forgetting it. Right? So some people can do that. So how do we do that? First is you got to really pay attention and you got to be present. And then that is how the mind works. As long as you pay attention and you're not distracted, whatever you do, whatever you see, whatever you're learning, it sticks in your mind. It stays there for a long time. So mindfulness is directly related to memory. So if we want to increase or improve our memory, don't tell me the excuse of, people, I'm getting old now. I'm over 50 years old. I'm over 60. I cannot remember what you said last night. I don't even remember their faces. I don't remember what I learned last week. That is an excuse, okay? So from Yogācāra point of view, in order to have better memory, you have to have the right condition when you learn, when you're listening, when you're reading. Don't read while the environment is noisy, or don't do multitasking. That's why in the mind practice we try not to do multitasking, because multitasking always reduce our mindfulness, our attention on one thing, right? And if we lose attention on one thing, it's very hard for us to remember what we have just done. Of course, some students may argue, yeah, I like to listen to music when I'm studying. Yes, that works for some students, but not all. But at least for me, if I listen to any music and when I'm studying, I couldn't stay, I couldn't study at all. For me, noise is something that I cannot. But some people can. The reason is because they are not paying attention to the music at all. Trust me, when you're saying that you're doing multitasking, when you're listening to music and you're reading, actually you're not listening to the music. You're doing either one. You're either reading or you're either listening to music. They are not happening at the same time, right? So when the music become background noise, become white noise to you, then you can focus on the reading. So at that time, the music is simply something that make you feel comfortable, but it's actually you're not listening to it. So that's why memory, mindfulness is like brothers that always stay together. Want to improve memory? Being mindful, pay attention to one thing at a time, right? That's what we learn from the mental factors. Of course, concentration, as I say, if we have mindfulness, then we can concentrate on what we're doing. And then discernment is sometimes we also call it intelligence, right? To make choices, to make judgment. Yeah, there was a friend who just asked me previously. He said, "Oh, Shifu, now the pandemic is over. I want to go overseas for travel. Should I go Japan? Should I go Korea? It's so hard for me to choose. Right? I love two places. So how to decide? I mean, it depends on what you like, right? So that is your way of discernment, how you make choices, how you judge according to your experience, according to what you are looking forward to. So discernment is also something to do with intelligence, right? But we call that intelligence in modern terms, so that it's not IQ. It's not equal to IQ. It's something that how we receive information, how we store the information, and how we analyze the information. So this belongs to discernment. So in order to make good decision, we need to have all these things come together. All right. So these are the 5 special mental factors. I was just talking about it, just to know that in daily life, how can we use these different terms of the mind functions to help us get better result in whatever we are doing. Okay? Right. Anger. Right? We're talking about mind factors. So anger is something that we think is the hardest thing to control. And we are always controlled by anger, right? So now, since you are talking about the function of the mind, I want to talk a little bit about how do we deal with anger. So anger is part of the 51 mental factors. Actually, we have like let me look. Let me see. The anger actually is unwholesome, of course. Aversion, right? Aversion is a very strong sense of like anger, and then we have anger is a minor unwholesome. So there are different levels. Right? So you can see under the 51 mental factors, we have already 2 that is dedicated to anger itself, aversion and anger. So you can know how destructive and how important it is to deal with anger in our daily life. Okay, if you want to ask how you want to deal with anger, the first step we can do is to see its negative effects, right? Analyze it. Use our think about every time you want to get angry at someone, think about we can get angry for 5 minutes. We can feel satisfied for 5 minutes, but you have to spend like the next 10 hours or so dealing with the consequences, right? You can yell at your partner, you can yell at your child for 5 minutes or even 2 seconds. And then you can spend even longer time to try to get back to try to heal your relationship with the other person. So this is one way of looking at the negative effects. Right? It works that way, but we have to really think about it before we get into that situation. So that's why meditation is one way to help us, right? During meditation, sometimes we can think about a situation where we can get angry easily, and then I think about, oh, what would happen if I let myself grab by anger? What's the consequences? Well, it's easy to say, but something that we must try to do, right? And knowing the impermanence. Have you noticed that all emotions, either happiness or anger, they come, they go. Actually, they never last for long, right? Have you seen a child? I know everyone has seen a child. I mean, when they are happily enjoying something that they eat, and the next month, if they like, I remember I saw a very short video clip. There was a 3-year-old girl. She was at the cinema, and her grandfather bought her a very big bag of popcorn. Oh, she was so happy, she was jumping around, holding a big bag of popcorn, putting some in her mouth. And all of a sudden, she tripped and fell, and a whole box of popcorn just spread around the floor. And at that moment, you can see her face is like, she was shocked. And then the next moment, she was angry. And next moment, she was sad. She was crying. In just a few seconds, like the face had changed so quickly. She was crying and yelling. Okay. And then the grandfather bought her another bag of, popcorn, just put in front of her. And within 2 seconds, like she broke into laughter. Wow, you see? So these are emotions. Like we are always going to these emotions. Actually happen in seconds, even milliseconds, right? So the lesson is, if we are feeling angry now, if we are feeling sad now, we always have a feeling that, oh, this is the end of the world. Oh, this is how I'm going to live with it forever. But no, give a little bit of time, right? Just like a little girl, in a few seconds, in a few moments, the everything changes. So this is impermanence, right? It helps us to deal with anger. Right, of course, what's that? Nothing more than an internal emotion. Remember a time when you feel angry at someone? What's your volition? Okay, volition means, what do you want to do? I don't know. You might want to yell at the person, right? You want to strangle the person. Stop doing this, And this is how we think, right? We always want to destroy something outside that actually give us, like causing us angry, right? Making us angry. You want to stop that. Stop crying. Stop yelling because I don't like it, right? We want to stop something happening outside. We always think that it's not my fault. It's because you do this, then I'm not happy. Because you don't do this, and I'm not happy. Because you do this, then I become unhappy. So the enemy is always outside. But the Buddhism taught us that it's nothing more than an internal emotion. Nothing more than an internal emotion. Right? It's something that we feel inside. So instead of trying to destroy everything outside all the time, look inside. So how we do it? Well, let's see if we can do a little practice on it. This is a very famous poem written by Shantideva. He's an Indian yogi during the 8th century from India. I love this. He said, where would I possibly find enough leather with which to cover the surface of the earth? But wearing leather just on the soles of my shoes is equivalent to covering the earth with it. Yeah, think about it. Actually, it comes from a story. There was a king who really loved to walk on carpet. So one day he ordered his people to cover the whole kingdom with carpet. So wherever he goes, he feel comfortable. And then when everybody was so worried and afraid. They don't know what to do. There was this very smart guy who told him that, yeah, I can do that, So he get us like a few pieces of leather, very soft leather, and wrap around the feet of the king. And the king was happy because from then on, everywhere he goes, he feels like he's walking on a carpet again. Okay, so this is the original story of how Shantideva, he got to write about this. And then what he was saying is, it's like dealing with anger. Dealing with anger, you want to destroy everything outside. You want the world to be, everything to be satisfying. We don't want anything. We want everything to be smooth. We want everything to be comfortable, right? So it tells us that, is it possible to have the whole world being so comfortable to us, right? Is it not better if we can prepare, right? We wrap ourselves with leather around our shoe and we walk outside so we won't feel hurt. So what he means by putting a leather on the shoe is we look inside, right? And prepare ourselves to deal with anger. Then wherever we go, we have a weapon in our hand to deal with our emotions. So it clearly tells us that anger or the enemy is not outside, but it is inside what we're doing. All right, but also in Yogācāra tells us that there are three conditions that trigger anger. First is because there's still anger states in our Vijnana, our life consciousness. Remember, we talk about how our actions can deposit it into our mind, right? The alaya. Every time we feel angry, there's a seed of anger that goes into the mind. So in the future, it will arise again, and we will feel angry easily. So the first condition for us to get angry easily, the first reason is because there's always this seed in our mind that causes anger. So nobody can avoid it, right? And it's there. So we have to try to purify the seeds. So that's a lesson. And next thing is we remain too close to the object of anger. Yeah, what does that mean? We'll see in a while. And the third one is we still have distorted assumptions. Distorted assumptions means that we always think we are right. I am right, you are wrong. Right? Have you heard of an argument about how couples quarrel about the way they use toilet paper or the way they hang toilet paper? Right? Well, this is a joke anyway. Some feel that toilet paper should, like the way like you tear it from outside, right? And some think that you tear it from inside. I don't know which way you think about how you hang your toilet paper, either you're the inside one or the outside one. Think about it. If you're the outside one and you change your inside one and you try to use it tomorrow, I'm sure you will feel irritated. Who did this to me? It's wrong. It should be the other way. But it's interesting, right? There was a psychological test done by some psychologists. They went to do survey with couples. Most couples, they don't agree on how to hang toilet paper. And many times it becomes a topic of quarrel between them. Well, not to the extent of, divorcing, but it was a big problem. Even how to hang the toilet paper. Yes. Why? Because we have different assumptions. I think it should be this way, and you think it should be the other way. And then we ask, why don't you follow my way? Right? This is how argument. This is why anger always arises, because we always think that our assumptions, our experience are correct. Right? This is why in Chinese we say that "ma mother wei dao," right? The dishes that we used to eat from our mother is always the most delicious. Wherever we go, it's incompatible to anything that we eat. Right? Ma mother wei dao. Why? This is our assumptions. Right? So that's why no matter how old we are, if we taste something from our hometown, the clothes that resembles taste from the mother cooking, wow, all your memories flashback, all your love arise so easily. This is also assumptions, right? So this is how the brain, our mind, play tricks on us. So in order to deal with our anger, we have to see on these three different perspectives. All right. So how do we do it? Meditate on anger. Right? Meditate on anger. So if you ask me, how do we meditate on anger? We're going to do afterwards, I hope for 10 minutes, is we try to distance ourselves. Right? We feel our body, or we feel our emotions. And if there is any sensation of anger or even other emotions, we name it, oh, this is anger. And then we try to see, where is this anger? Is it in the heart, near the stomach, near the muscles or your shoulders? Everybody has different sensations of anger, right? It depends on your own experience. So by doing this meditation on anger, actually we are answering how not to stay too close to the object of anger. Remember, when we are staying too close to the object of anger, this becomes a trigger to the future anger. Of course, in another way, not staying too close to the object of anger also means that when you feel like you want to argue with your partner about the way to hang the toilet paper, right? Stop that for a few seconds, or you can walk away. Oh, sotomate, wait a second, let me go out and do something. Okay, get away from the object of anger for a while and come back. This always works, okay? This always works. But do it in a very nice way. Don't just walk out and slam the door, right? That is definitely, you're adding oil to the worst condition, right? You're adding the burning fuel to the condition. So that's what I mean by when we are staying too close to the object of anger, like externally, when we are staying too close with the thing that we don't like that causes us problem, and internally, right, when we are staying too close, anger means that we think anger is me. Remember we said last time, anger is not me. But usually when we are so angry, we don't have other thing in our mind. Our mind is so occupied by anger. Only anger itself. The body is rushing, like your heart is pounding, like your whole circulation go like the speed of light. So that is the moment we feel that I equals anger. That's why you can never control it in this way. That's why we say, how do we control anger? Stay away. Whether it's physically or emotionally, stay away. So meditation is a way to do that. Meditate on anger means that we try to keep a distance. So when we come face to face with anger in the future, we know how to handle it, right? This is the way. Of course, when we get into higher practice, then we came to know that, oh, we have to develop equanimity, equanimity, right? Means that we are all equal in the sense that from my point of view, I don't like this and I'm not comfortable. And equality means that you, from your point of view, you also have the same feeling. So in terms of feeling, we are both not happy with the situations. So that is equanimity. So if we could see this way, right? If we could if we could try to put our feet in others' shoe, there's a saying. Try to put your feet in others' shoe and you feel how it feels. Try it tonight, right? It feels so different, so weird if you're wearing some other people's shoe. And never the same. So developing equanimity means that try to understand from other points of view and understand that they also suffer unhappiness. And of course, the last thing is develop patience. Patience and develop love and compassion, right? How to develop patience? There's a saying that if something happened and I could change it, why get angry, right? If something happens and I couldn't do anything about it, why get angry? I'm sure you heard of it. So either way, there's no point of getting angry. So that is a mental practice to develop patience. Let's say you're waiting at a bus stop. I did one time. I was in India. I was going to the airport, and I was like 2 hours away from the airport in a very rural area. And the one bus stop, I was waiting from the morning from 8 o'clock a.m. until 2 p.m. The bus never showed up. My flight was at 4. I started waiting at 8 a.m. It didn't show up. And I was the one who was really anxious. And I look around, all the Indian people around me was really, relaxed and nobody complaining. People started to sit down, picnicking, like talking with friends, and they're like having a party over there while waiting for the only bus that goes to the city. And I was the one who was suffering for, I don't know, for 6 hours, 8 hours. When is coming? I have no way. There's no taxi, right? There's only buses there. I have to go to the airport. Well, there was nothing I could do, right? So I was unhappy. I was a bit angry too. In the end, I still missed my plane. I still missed my flight, right? Because I only got on the bus at 2 p.m. and my flight left at 4. Like no way I could catch it. Anyway, so now I really learned that, well, yeah, if there's nothing you could do, if the bus won't come, it means it won't come. What's the point of, getting agitated? Like keep complaining to the people around you, keep making yourself like a mad person. What's the point? You couldn't change anything. Of course, we are not talking about being passive in a way that just receive it as a fate, right? Buddhism don't believe in fate. It means that do whatever you can. And there's nothing you can do, accept it, and voila, be happy with it, right? Sarah, Sarah. Remember the song? Yet Sarah, Sarah. Whatever will be, will be. So that's the spirit. All right. Dealing with compassion, with emotions. Okay. Any question at this point? Okay. Oh, I saw the chat box. Maybe we can come back to that, right, Chopin? Or should we come back?
I think we have a Q&A session, right, later after your talk. Yeah.
Okay, let's come back to
Okay,
this. Okay, thanks for the question. Right. Okay, we want to continue with our practice from yesterday. We didn't have time to do last night. So this is mindfulness of emotion. Just a very quick recap. This is the periodic table. Okay. Learn the terms of emotions. Well, I'm not asking you to memorize the 51 types of mental factors in Yogācāra, because even if you learn them, you're not going to use it because we are not meditation all the time, right? So learn this instead. This is how we deal with everyday's life, right? The emotion terms like a boredom, what else? Resentment, frustration, jealousy, hate, rage, optimism, happiness. Try to learn this term and help us to recognize them whenever they arise, okay? And we try to build feeling vocabulary, okay? We continue with doing a few more questions. All right, so let's see, you have just spilled coffee on your new white shirt. How are you feeling? All right, give me some answers. Quick type on your chat box. And what is your first instinct? Yeah, finally, I can buy a new t-shirt. Woohoo. Angry. At the table or at yourself, right? You roll eyes. Oh, okay. Continue to enjoy my coffee. Watch it later. All right. That's equal. Yeah. Angry with myself. That's angry. Frustration. All right. Yeah. This is usually how we react, right? So it can, if we try to analyze it deeper, sometimes what is below the surface of angry, sometimes it may be regret, sometimes it might be something else. So take time to think about it, right? 等巴士的经验给我很大启发 ，OK。Alright. Well, maybe you wait for the buses very often. Yes, especially in India. You're alone in a rural area. You don't speak their language. and you have to rush for your flight. I can tell you the sense of helplessness is unforgettable. Unbelievable. But it was a very nice experience. After that, I'm not worried about anything anymore. If I miss my flight, I miss my flight. I could survive in India with that experience. I think I could survive anywhere with that same experience. Okay? All right. Our next question. You're viewing a magnificent sunset. How are you feeling? Right. Try to give a different adjective of your feelings. What is it? It can be more, a little bit imaginative. Okay. Typical here. Calm, satisfied, contented. Whoa, that's a nice way. What is whoa? Take a photo right now. Yes. Awestruck. Awestruck is stronger than awesome, right? You're just struck by awe, right? Awestruck. You're struck by lightning or something. Wonderful. Right? You had a great joy. Okay. Try to use different words to describe your feeling like at that moment. That is the game that we can do. Okay, what else? Number 6, you've just read that 30 people were massacred by terrorists in African country. How are you feeling? Yeah, happens sometimes. What is that? Pity. Okay. I could say pray for them. But feeling, how do you feel? Sad. Are you upset? Are you angry? Yes, you're angry. Oh, you're anxious about their safety. Yes, you worry about them. Yes, you worry about them. Of course. Yeah, all kind of feelings arise, but try to understand it, right? Okay, your wife, husband, or your lover, your friend just say that I'm bored with a relationship. How are you feeling? And you hear that. Astonished. Is astonishing a positive emotion? Or it could be just shocked, surprised. Me too. I think me too feels more like a revenge. Yeah, me too. With an angry voice, right? Me too. You too. You're only one who fed up with me. Me too. Right? Okay. No. That's a way of expressing. Yeah. I said I'm bored too. Well, anyway, we have all different reactions to this. Yeah. The point is come up with the more precise one, and that helps us to understand ourselves better. Okay, this is what we're going to do with mindfulness emotion afterwards. I remember we talked about this is harder because it is more subtle than mindfulness of bodily feelings. This is in the mind, right? So what you do is when it arises, you just observe them. Like just now, observe them, give it a name. What it is? It's angry. Is it what it is? It's boredom, right? What it is? It's joy, it's satisfaction, right? And then after we give it a name, right? Think about what our mind does after we have a name. Are we feeling excited afterward? You see, the emotion changes. Like it's like a domino effect, one after another. You try to catch what is it. If you name one, the next one will arise. You see, you try to follow it as far as you could. Keep naming them, right? You have the thoughts, you have reactions. Your reaction might be, oh, and then you might start to judge yourself. How could I feel that way? You see, judgmental. Judging is also an emotion that makes us feel regret, make us feel sorry for ourselves. So this is, and then the third thing is do not identify with them. Emotion, remember, emotions are not me. It's just part of me. It's just something that's going on in my mind, right? And the last thing is do not intervene, right? Don't so, oh, it's angry. It's anger there. Yeah, no, it's bad. Stop it. So we do not intervene. I mean, during this practice, we do not intervene. We just be aware and accept our emotions. Be aware means, oh, I know you're there. I see you. Even though we start to judge ourselves, oh, you're a bad person. How could you be angry? That judgmental thought, you just look at it, oh, I'm judging myself. Yeah, I see that. I know I'm judging myself. You know what I'm saying? We keep telling ourselves what's going on in our mind. So this is the practice of mindfulness. And this is actually what we do in the meditation, in the 4 kinds of meditation. We call it satipatthana, right? In the This is a kind of meditation that I do most of the time. This is actually the method that you use, but I'm using it into a very general term to explain it and use a layman term so that everyone can follow the same step using our understanding, right? Okay, so ready? Of course, first of all, we're going to do as usual. Every time we do meditation, we have to start from the body adjustment. And of course, before we do that, we need to have the music. Can you hear the music? Right. Where is my slide? Right, now get ready. Sit comfortably on your chair. You just sit. Remember, you just sit like you don't sit all the way in. Make sure your feet are resting comfortably on the floor. Your waist straight. Your chest slightly drawn in. Put your hands on our legs. Relax shoulder. Slightly pull back our chin. Relax tongue. Close our eyes. We can slowly lean forward and backward. Back and forth to find the center of gravity of our body. And once we find, just stop and to the side, left and right, very gently until we find the center of gravity. Close our eyes. We do a body scanning, starting from the top of our head. Pay attention to the feeling, any sensation we have on the top of our head. Face, eye, ear, nose. Try to feel if it's relaxed or it's tense. By paying attention, the muscles will relax by themselves. You don't need to force them. I would pay attention to the neck or shoulders, arms, elbows, all the way to the fingers. Knowing if they are tensed or relaxed. Just pay attention to the sensations. Now we slowly move our attention to the chest, the belly, Feel the movement of our belly when we're breathing. Expands, contracts, knowing it. Feel the sensations on our belly, following the motion. If our mind wanders away, it's okay. We just come back to the sensation of our body. Pay attention to the back, lower back, the moment we pay attention to a lower back, we relax automatically. Paying attention is all we do. And move our attention to our buttock, thighs, our feet, to the toes. Be aware of the sensations of each part of the body. Knowing that our body is sitting in a relaxed and comfortable position. All we do is to be aware of the body, aware of where we are sitting, aware of our breathing, aware of the movement of our abdomen. Now slowly, we take one deep breath. Be aware of the sensation of the air that brushes through our nostril. And be aware of the warm air that comes out from our nostril when we exhale. Keep our attention at the breathing. When we are inhaling, just tell ourselves, I'm inhaling. I am exhaling. Inhale. Exhaling. Every time our mind wanders away, Just call it back to our breathing, one breathing at a time. Breathing, breathe out. What we do is just watching our body doing its job. Breathing, breathe out. Come back to our breathing. It's okay if you fall asleep. Allow ourselves to relax. It's just a breathing at this moment and nothing else. Do one last deep breath. Breathe in. Breathe out all the way out. Now try to think about a scenario in the past couple of days where we have a strong emotion. It could be joy, it could be satisfaction, it could be anger. Think about the scenario like a picture holding in your mind. What did you hear in that scene? What did you say? What did you do? aware of the emotion that accompanies the incident or the event that you're now thinking. Give it a name. Joy. Anger. Frustration. Boredom. Once we give a name, we tell ourselves, I have a feeling of joy. I have a feeling of anger. There's no right or wrong regarding our emotions. Emotion is just a signal, it's a message that the body gives us. So we accept the emotion, whether it's anger, it's happiness, sadness. We thank our body for giving us the ability to feel the emotion. We accept this emotion without judging ourselves. It's okay to feel this way. This is my natural reaction to the incident. Now pay attention to the parts of our body when we are holding that emotion. Do we feel tightness in our chest when we are feeling the emotion? Is it in the stomach, on our shoulders, or in our head? Be aware of the sensation from the body that's related to this emotion. Now take a deep breath. Imagine the breath we took in becomes a light, a soft light, like the sunshine. Imagine the light goes to the part of our body that we feel tight or uncomfortable. Imagine the light soothe the part of our body that is tense. Imagine the light spread through the area of the body that is uncomfortable. And the light spread all the way throughout our body, making us feeling comfortable and relaxed. Keeping us light and relaxed. And now when we breathe out, we imagine the light coming out from our nose and feel our environment. Now, bring our attention back to our normal breathing. Breathe in. Breathe out. One more time. Breathe in. Breathe out. Alright. Count to 3. When you're ready, put our attention back to where we are sitting. 3, 2, 1. Slowly move our body. Okay. How's everybody doing? Is everyone back? Anyone gone to the highest level absorption? Please come back. Oh. Okay, tell me if you could at least find or at least recognize one emotion, the strong emotion, and you were able to name it and hold it for at least a few seconds and tell yourself, this is, what is that? If you could do that, can you type 1 in a chat box? And if you couldn't, type 2. Then I will know if this method works for you. Okay. If you don't type anything, oh, there's someone that couldn't type. Okay. If you could, I think it's Jessie. If you want to maybe tell us, share a little bit of your thoughts. Why is that difficult for you? Or you have other thoughts that you want to share with us? well, you can always leave a message to us at the end to tell us why is that difficult for you. Okay. Right. How about the imagination, the bringing in the light? If you could do that, and they can like help you, if you couldn't, and direct it to the part of the body that you feel uncomfortable. If you could reach that stage, type 1. If you couldn't, type 2. Then I believe imagining the light going in our body, this is a way we do self-compassion. Yeah. So whenever we are feeling very intense emotion, usually our body have signals for us. It comes from certain part of our body. So if you feel very strong, the tension in our body, what we can do is use this method, like breathing in light, soft light, direct the light to the spot. Okay? Use our mental imagination to soothe that area that we feel uncomfortable. This is one of the ways that we use in self-compassion meditation. Yeah, so I use it as a very simple and easily adaptable way so that anyone can do it anytime. There's no side effect. Well, there's only one side effect, that is relax. Your side effect is you will feel a bit relaxed if you do that. Yeah, that's harmless. For me, it's effective. Yeah, but it depends on everyone, of course. But I suggest you could do it. Breathe in light, help it to soothe your body, and for you to feel that is a way that we care for ourselves, right? Using our mental activity. One, but it get drifted. Yes, drifted off. Of course, I couldn't stay like for a whole 20 minutes as well. I do drifted off, so I keep saying it's okay, even if it does off. Even your mind is gone, somewhere else, come back. Yeah, every time we find ourselves lost, that's definitely fine. All right, so where was I? Yeah, I think that's all I want to share with you guys for the course. Actually, this is just a very brief course summary for what we have done for the past four sessions. I'm not going to go into detail because I'm going to give you the slides, yeah, so that for you to very quick recap of what we have studied together. We talk about Yogācāra and cognitive science, 8 consciousness, right? We talk about 3 natures. We talk about 100 Dharmas. That is for today's lesson. And of course, Yogācāra is meditative analysis, and Yogācāra is practice. So for this Vishnapti mantra is mind only, right? So I was saying that nothing but a transformation of consciousness, right? So this is the ultimate teaching of Yogācāra. Everything is about a transformation of consciousness. It changes, it transforms, it comes, it goes. It never stays permanent. So this is the teaching, the core teaching of Yogācāra. Yeah, cognition only. Everything happens in our mind. We see our enemy in our mind. We see our lovers in our mind. So there's no secret about that, right? And the first practice we did was we were introducing what is mindfulness, what is meditation. So mindfulness is a meditation practice. The way of doing it is to pay attention to the body, to feelings, to our emotions, right? And be aware of present moment and understanding what is happening. So that's a simple definition of mindfulness. And being mindful simply means having good control over our attention. I couldn't emphasize this more. Attention attention. If we can place our attention wherever we want and make it stays there, right? Then we are success. Then we will be succeed in practicing the mindfulness. So you notice that every time we do practice, I always start with body adjustment. Right? So this is what I want everyone to remember. If you want to do meditation, even though for 5 minutes, you go through exactly the same procedure. Adjust your body accordingly, right? Find your center of gravity, sit properly, sit in a very relaxed way, and then do a very quick body scanning from top to toe. You can even do it in a few seconds, like a very general way. Oh, okay, I'm feeling fine. There's no tension here and there. Or you have more time, you can go through like one part at a time. It's up to you. Depends on how much time you have. And then I always start with breathing meditation, knowing that you are breathing in, breathing out. Right? And after that, we go to whatever practice we want. It could be meditation on feelings, emotions. It could be inner meditation. And then we end by coming back to breathing again. So this is a procedure that I think is most useful for modern people, like busy people like us, to do a complete set of meditation, right? Easy step to follow, easy to remember, and is effective. All right, in the second class, we talk about the 8 consciousnesses, right? Remember the 8 brothers, right? The 8 brothers under one roof. One is sharp, one is dim. 5 brothers do business, and the last one keeps everything. It's just a different function of the mind. And also the seeds, remember? Whatever we say, whatever we do, whatever we think, they all leave an imprint, like a seed in our alaya vijnana, in the deepest unconscious mind. So the purpose of practice is to clean all these seeds, transform them into something better. So that's the purpose and explanation of mind training. And the second practice we did was mindfulness of bodily feelings. There are 3 kinds. Either it's pleasant, unpleasant, neutral, right? We give them a name. And then the next lesson we talk about the 3 natures. What are the 3 natures? Objects that are merely illusion, right? Like objects that although is look like it's real, but it's still falsely perceived. The second level. And the highest level is object as they truly are. So this is how Yogācāra look at everything in the real world, in the environment. It helps us to deal with our daily life, our relationship with others, right? Our relationship with environment depends on how we look at things. The 3 perspectives. So I use a rope and a snake to illustrate this. And when we always think that we are right? So remember these 3 natures: illusion, perception, and truth. Where we are. Decide where we are now, right? Know that where we are, then we know what to do next. And then today we talk about 51 mental factors. And then the way of dealing with anger, see negative effects, know its impermanence, nothing more than internal emotion. Remember that everything is internal. And then we meditate on anger. We try to develop equanimity. We develop patience, develop love and compassion. And today we did mindfulness of emotions, right? These are the mindfulness emotions. These are the steps. And yeah, I think this is the complete. This complete our 4 sessions on Yogācāra practice and some methods on training the mind based on Yogācāra teachings. Okay, shall we open for question, Sharon?
Yeah, okay. Let me check. Okay. Yeah, Venerable, there's some just now there were 2 questions in the chat box. Okay, the first one is Venerable, I still don't understand a bit what is a Dharma gate of Yogācāra. Do they go pure land or do they stay in human realms?
Yogācāra to get pure. Actually, it's interesting. Yeah, it's a very good question. As I say, Yogācāra teachings has been absorbed by almost all schools in Chinese Buddhism. Almost every school almost have absorbed the Yogācāra thought in their Dharma gate. Yeah, you got Fatman, right? Dharma gate. Like the Pure Land, how they explain the Pure Land way of thinking. The more you chant the name Amitofo, it's like planting a seed in the mind, right? And at the end, you purify your Araya Vijnana, and Araya Vijnana is the one that being reborn in the Pure Land. So it depends on Yogācāra teaching is like a base. You can start from there. You can even wish to go to any Pure Land you like. You might not go to the Pure Land Amitabha, Sifang Chita Seekers. You may choose to go to the Toshita Land. You know, the Toshita Land is what they call it in Mandarin, 斗衰天. That is where Mila Pusa is staying right now. I remember which great master in China, was it Xu Yun Lao和尚, or I might be mistaken, right? But just correct me, I was wrong. I think it was Xu Yun Lao和尚 or Tai Xu Da Shi, I forgot which one, that they made the vow or they made the wish to go to Tushita Land, but not the Sifang Chita Seekers. You can, right? So you can also use it for meditation, of course, like the Sanzong, right? Sanzong talks about being liberated, becoming a Buddha, becoming a Bodhisattva. So that's also based on Yogācāra teaching. I mean, it can be explained. The Fatman can be explained using Yogācāra, because Yogācāra is about psychology. It's about how the mind functions, how the mind works. And all Buddhist practice is about the mind, nothing else but the mind. So I think that answers your question, right? You can choose wherever you want to go. Just follow their Fatman based on Yogācāra understanding.
Okay. The second question is how when being aware of our emotions can help in our mental well-being.
Okay, it's interesting is that emotion want us to catch our attention. That is a very basic function of emotion. As I said in the last time, why during the million years of evolution, we as human and all animals keep the emotion? What is the meaning of it? We know evolution is like they only keep something that is useful for the being. So the very function of emotion is to get our attention so that we know what to take action to protect ourselves. So by knowing our emotion going on in our brain and give it a name, I know you are there, then it actually calms our body, because the emotion job has done. By getting our attention, the job is finished. Whatever you want to do next is up to us. So by understanding it from this point of view, right, that's why in meditation, we only name the emotion, like the meditation on the mindfulness of emotion, we give it a name. We don't do anything. We don't stop it. We don't try to suppress it, or we don't try to make it even stronger. We just look at it at a distance. By doing so, we are not overwhelmed by emotion, and then we are able to minimize its effect on us. Then we know what to do next. So this is how I explain by naming the emotion actually help our mind becoming, as I say, to clean up our mind, to make our mind more healthy, by fulfilling its function.
Okay, the next one is it normal to feel light at the head, getting brighter, dim a little, then brighter again at the first portion of the meditation that we just did? This is from Sharon.
Okay, you mean becoming bright and dim? But were you closing your eyes, or was it from environment? You have to make sure.
The eyes was closed, but you can feel like it's at the top of the head. It was like brighter and brighter. Then it's dim a bit. It's again brighter and brighter. But my eyes were closed.
Okay, you know that even our eyes are closed, the light still can go through the eyeball and got and being sensed. I don't know if that happens. If you try to go to a dimmer room, maybe you are now in a very bright place. If you do it in a dimmer room, you see whether that effect is still there. Because I suspect it's from the environment. But usually, if it's in a dim room, in a dim meditation, unless your eyeball keeps rolling, sometimes we don't know, right? Our eyeball keep rolling, then we can then we receive different light source. But if you are steady enough or calm enough, and your eyeball is resting, then you shouldn't be having that problem. So first is the environment. Try to go to a dimmer place and see whether that's the same. And the next thing is, maybe your eyeball is too busy. Yeah, we have thoughts. Yeah, it's natural. We have thoughts. So in that case, I suggest you don't close your eyes fully. Half closed, or you can even open your eyes. Okay, you're sitting in a room with no distraction. You can open your eyes so that you won't be affected by being bright or being dim. It will be constant. Try that and see if that works. If not, message me again. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
the
you.
The last question is from the first participant who asked. So Yogācāra itself has no Dhamma gate?
Farman. Yes, we do. Yogācāra, we have the methods of meditation, but that is you based on the understanding of the teaching Yogācāra. We have its own meditation method, which require you to have a stronger foundation. Yes, we do. That is called, we have a farman on that. But if you look around, like the Chinese Buddhism, we don't have it anymore. It's because your Yogācāra wasn't it was not developed after Tang Dynasty. It was somehow being absorbed into under Dhamma Gate or Farman. So itself, it was almost, I could say, forgotten. But it was in Japan. And then in the last century, it was revived again by some great masters in China. So yeah, the Fa Xiang Zhong, they have their own way of meditation, but it's not. The problem is Yogācāra teaching is very complex. It got a lot of theories, a lot of debates going on which is correct. The system is so vast and complex. So many masters, they are focusing on the academic debate, and so the practice part of it actually was not carried out. As much as we expect. So yeah, your question is very valid. Do we have a Dhamma gate for Wei Shi, right? Maybe we never heard of. But if you look at the Chong Wei Si Lun, like the very important text of a Chinese Yogācāra, we do have that. But even that is not emphasized there too. Like the Yu Jia Si Di Lun, the much earlier text from India about Yogācāra, the Yu Jia Si Di Lun, it has the set of meditation, including the meditation we were just practicing in this lesson. In this lesson, we talk about mindfulness of the body, the emotion. These are actually included in the Yogācāra meditation. It goes step by step, level by level. So yes, it does. It has.
Okay, Venerable, the last question is from myself. Can I ask? Just now during the meditation, I was so engrossed in my own emotion, and because it was a happy emotion, so actually you didn't want to get out from that situation. So is there a side effect for you get attached to that emotion during that meditation?
Yeah, as you say, the side effect is, well, the moment you'll be happy, of course. The side effect is the next time when you sit down, you want to get back the same feeling. But when you couldn't, you feel disappointed. So that's a side effect. So, as I said, whatever that comes up in your mind, keep a distance. How? Name it. Oh, I know I'm attached to it. Oh, attach. You know, tell yourself, I'm attached to it. Attach. By just saying so, you're keeping a distance and you won't be affected so deeply anymore. Try that.
Okay.
Whatever comes into your mind, name it in your mind. Oh, this is attachment. Oh, this is anger. Oh, this is hatred. The moment you name it, its power is like becoming smaller and smaller. It's true. Try that. You will see. It's very interesting. It's very good to practice this way.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So there's no more question. I don't know whether any other participant who have any question to ask Venerable. You can unmute yourself and ask Venerable directly. So no more questions.
Time for bed.
Yeah. So
Or for some people, time to continue meditation. Yeah, I know some of us are in a good mood now. You can continue afterwards. Okay, shall we do merit dedication now?
Yeah. So if there's no other questions, so Venerable, can we now invite you to lead us in the meditation? Delegation of the merits.
I know you're still in meditation mode. Definitely fine. Okay, let me switch to the page. All right. And when I click on it, it should play by itself. Okay, join your palm together. And if you can, we chant along. Master Hang Shui. You see, our mind is one and radiant with light. When we think about it, imagine we are spreading light to everyone around us.
May every living being, our minds as one and radiant with light, share the fruits of peace with hearts of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see how hands and hearts can find in giving unity, may their minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward. May all who sorrow leave their grief and pain. May this boundless light break the darkness of their endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise.
Okay. Thank you for joining us.